Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our October County Council meeting of October 7th. We've got quite a bit on the agenda today that has to do with things that we've already addressed, so hopefully this will be a non-eventful meeting and we just keep on moving with our day. If you guys would please start today by joining me to honor our country with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda today is not on the agenda. Teresa has come to me and asked for conversation and presentation about the coroner's office relocation. So we are going to start the day with that. I'm going to preface this event or this item on the agenda with the fact that it did not meet the requirements that we request as far as being put in a timely manner on the agenda so we can ask questions and do homework. I know it's an ongoing thing, so it's pertinent to get it on the agenda today because it's time sensitive. But I would, not knowing if there's going to be an ask today for something or whether it's just a general filling us in on what's going on, I would say now that if this does get postponed or kicked to next month's meeting in order for us to be able to do our homework on any decision that may need to be made or asked of, that is a possibility. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to Teresa or Mark or whoever is here for this last minute addition.
We're all here.
Okay.
Good morning, Mark Starlevant for maintenance. Let's see here. I think I got it. That'd be one short. So the sheet coming around to you is a breakdown of relocation costs for moving the coroner from the former jail, the old jail, to the government center here. The commissioners have asked me to come up with a plan on how to move them over here, working with Scott here. We have come up with a location that works in the building here at the government center, and an area that is suitable for his storage needs. And you can see the breakdown there of expenses of what it would take to accomplish this. We'd be utilizing the former VSO office on second floor and one of the closets in the conference room on second floor.
So I take it the telephones and furniture got moved to the administration or to the veteran services when they moved out?
Yes, they took their phones
They
with
took
them.
the phones and desks and everything, so there's nothing up there, so it needs. Okay.
Correct.
And nothing from the old jail to bring over?
It's not compatible with our system here at the government center. So we need 3 phones
Okay.
for them.
How about the furniture? Same way?
Same way.
The desk that Randy's using is one that came over from the very old jail
Okay.
over to ours, and it's starting to fall apart pretty rapidly.
Okay. Can we take that out of your budget?
No.
Got a lot of
So we
department heads here. Is there any department heads that have extra desks, chairs, floor mats, or mats in their offices that they're not using?
We have a workstation in ours. I don't know if it would work or not.
We did look at that, and we also looked at, I believe Scott Wagner had some, but it won't work with the confined space that I'm sorry, the square footage that we're working with in that office, it's just not gonna be able to put all that furniture in there.
That's a lot of money for 3 desks, 3 chairs, and 3 chair mats. I'm a little floored by that. What kind of desks are we buying here?
They're the least expensive that we could find. And I did solicit 2 quotes on that furniture.
Maybe I'm just out of touch with how much things cost anymore because I'm a
It's-
tightwad, but
It's ridiculous.
Nick, I'll just let you know, after he gave me this, I compared it to like Amazon and
Uh-huh.
everything else. These are installed. Mark didn't have to do anything with them. This is installed, it's a local, it's Heinen's, the bid that we kind of decided to go with. They have it in stock, we don't have to worry about anything. And I think it was $75 when I priced it out myself, difference from what the bid.
just to buy them and do it yourself,
Mhm.
save your back for $75, I guess.
I'm assuming they're sturdy like your old desk.
Sturdy like his old
Look
desk.
how long his old desk lasted.
Well-
It's an old metal desk, you wanna move it?
Nothing's built like it used to be.
Is it metal or is it wood?
Would be wood. Metal is considerably higher.
What's the miscellaneous for?
Any incidentals we might have missed. One of the things Scott needs is he's going to utilize the conference room adjacent to it. And he needs a TV to be able to, I'm gonna let him explain that, but he needs a TV on the wall when he meets with families. But I
Well,
can-
not necessarily families, it's when Child Protective Services come in and some other agencies come in, we do show all the pictures that we took from a scene. And right now, what we're doing is we're sliding the laptop in front of everyone, so not everyone can see it and ask questions at the same time. I should have some money left in my budget to take care of the TV,
Okay.
so.
So where would you propose that we get this $9,500 from?
So, before Mr. Banks had passed away, obviously the sewer district, that I think you've been all briefed on, they did not get their grant from the state. And we were going to grant them $1 million from the American Rescue Plan Act. So that, I believe, just went over
That's all spent.
this.
We did an insurance, 800 and some odd thousand to cover insurance, so there's no money left in that.
Okay, did not know that.
Is there any ARPA funds left?
No, that's what I was just telling you.
Okay, that's what you're talking about, okay.
Oh, I needed that, see if it was easier on you than to do multiple transactions.
For the reporting, yeah.
I apologize. I would recommend County Jen at that point. I apologize, it's been a long couple of weeks and, I guess I forgot. That's
What's the
how to spend
timeframe?
that funds. So everything is in stock that Mark, had indicated, so it's like 2 weeks out. Obviously, we're trying to get everyone out of the old jail, so we're not paying utilities. Utilities for last month were $8,000, so we'd like to get that done as quickly as possible. So if you didn't want to approve this today, the items are in stock, so they could come in. Everything for probation is 6 to 8 weeks out, so we're guessing 10 weeks until they can be officially moved. But obviously we can't order the items until the money's allocated. And then Mark is also worried about, weather, just moving things, and then he has to file, obviously that comes before anything. And I know that it wasn't advertised, again, it's been a rough couple weeks, which I think we all know that. And just with Mark being able to get all the different quotes and figure out everybody's needs, that's why we didn't have the information to you ahead of time. And obviously, with the time constraints, I would just like to save a month's worth of utilities. If you guys wanna wait and ask questions and do all the things, that's perfectly fine too, but that was just my, train of thought when I.
Where are we Where are we paying the utilities out of? Is it just county general?
It's not county gen, it's on one of our line items. I apologize, Commissioner Banks was the one who got the email
No
from
worries.
the mayor, and he would,
Do you know how much we're paying each month in utilities over there?
it's around $8,000, $7,000 to $8,000. And,
Is everybody else out of the building?
so probation again, which we can talk about that now, but I was gonna wait until it was Commissioner's turn, because Scott has to leave quickly, as we spoke yesterday. So their items are 8 to 10 weeks out, or 6 to 8 weeks out, 6 to 8 weeks out to order.
So we're gonna be
the
there
idea
for
is to
another
have them-
month.
Mhm. But if the money's not allocated, then we're also pushed out another 4 weeks after that, if that makes sense. So yeah, you don't have to allocate your money for today. So again, I was just trying to, present the information. I know there hasn't been time for you guys to all look, obviously, I believe everyone knew this stuff was coming. I know Mark has done everything he can to cut every cent, and, Commissioner Schuman and Banks and I all looked at it and cut out anything, that we felt that we didn't need. So, I mean, if you, again, it's whatever you guys would like to do. I was just trying to, save some money on utilities is all.
So time frame, can you kind of break it down like I'm a kindergartner real
So
fast?
10 weeks, so whatever 10 weeks would be from, because Mark could order it today if the money was allocated.
Yeah, assume
So
we
10
allocate
weeks
the money
would be
today.
That everybody would be completely out.
So we'll have 2 months in utilities, and if we weren't to allocate funds today, we'll still have an additional month.
An additional month, yes.
Okay.
When's probation moving?
10 weeks, if the money was allocated today, so I guess if we wait another month, 14 weeks. And then again, we're also going into the cold weather months, so, again, this completely is to you guys. I just thought it would be pertinent to talk about it, to you guys feel comfortable to save some money in utilities. That's completely, and obviously, it's introduced.
If I may. Starting next Monday, we start moving Purdue Extension Office out of Branch Court into the lower level of the Government Center. That'll take a week or two process. Once that's completed, then we can begin the renovations to the Branch Court facility to accommodate probation. That's about an 8 to 10 week lead time on that. Again, like Teresa was alluding to, weather's gonna play into this, because a lot of that, you could see when I give you the probation breakdown, we're gonna do a lot of that work in-house. But if we're, busy plowing or something, that's gonna take priority over. I don't anticipate anything too extravagant until the first of the year as far as weather, but you just don't know.
Still have rain, sure.
Yeah, but
It's not fun to move in the rain.
true.
I think I would be in favor of allocating funds today out of county general.
And I can let you know with moving of the insurance out of ARPA, we could do an out-of-series transfer, so we don't need to do an additional appropriation if you choose to do that to cover these expenses. So we'd move it from your monies that are left over in county gen from insurance that we move to ARPA to cover these expenses. So it's already technically budgeted. It would just need to come before you for approval for an out-of-series transfer. So that's an option.
What amount of money are we talking here? I mean, we've talked so far about the 9553, but you're alluding that there's going to be another ask for what it's going to cost for probation too. What's that number?
It's 125, including a new server that they have to have.
125 even? Is there a breakdown on that
It's
for
like
us?
Yes.
119, and then he, just obviously, in case anything were to happen, they would need something extra.
Let's go ahead and get that out.
You got that?
Not to exceed the 125, just in case, anything were to happen. But that's around the 3%.
I guess I really don't understand how this couldn't have been on the agenda sooner if it's this much of an emergency, why don't we have this before this morning?
On my office door, I can answer that because I had taken a break after everything happened in my life, and I was supposed to meet with Chad on Monday. We were supposed to meet, and unfortunately, we went to his visitation instead, so. And we held this back until the three of us could get together again.
I understand that, and I'm not looking at $9,000 so much as I am $125,000 not being on our radar, not having some sort of an idea here.
I can understand that.
This is a process that's been going on for weeks, months. I'm a little bit disappointed in that, but that's just me. So let's go through it and take a look here.
Are you wanting to lump it all together then at one time if we make a recommendation?
Well, I don't know that we really need to lump it together because as Tiffany said, we're not really doing an additional appropriation as much as we are just approving an expenditure at this point.
Sure.
Can we go down through these?
When you say re-letter sign by road and re-letter front door, is the sign just right at the edge of the parking lot? Or are you talking down?
It's right at the edge of the parking lot.
And what do you mean by prosecuted files? Is that only probation files or you're adding into a store?
So branch court has a second story, and it's one large room. And since the prosecutor currently has files in the old jail, we needed to find a location to put those. Again, working with Ed and his staff, probation, they're not so much in need of the second story for office space, but they also have files in the lower level of the old jail that we need to accommodate. So we looked at both, and we looked at the square footage on the second floor, and we're able to accommodate that space for both sets of files. So the prosecutor would have access to the second floor, and of course probation would have access to the files. Then that should completely empty out the old jail.
So have you already done some work in the basement here for?
The basement is completed. It's ready for them. Like I said, we start moving them in Monday morning.
And the money had already been okay to do all that?
Correct.
Yeah.
It was like 2 meetings ago.
Good. All right, I've been going a couple meetings, I apologize, but I'm trying to get caught up.
Every line item on here that is applicable was put out to bid, and these are all the lowest bids.
Yes.
So your in-house labor overtime, does that include regular wage plus overtime or just overtime?
Just overtime.
Okay, so that's not a true figure. 'Cause we got wages, okay, I'm just
What do you
thinking
mean?
out loud. Well, you still, that's just overtime, that's not true wages, so you add the true wages in to get the true total of labor. So, that's
Well,
fine.
it's just a guess at this point because they haven't done the work yet.
Yeah.
I appreciate you putting that line item in there, but you don't know that number for sure.
Right.
Is that a high estimate, or is that like pretty right on to what you're thinking it might be?
The labor,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say it's gonna be around there.
Okay.
Just depends on the workload.
Sure.
You know, we hired the 2 new guys, but, you know, there's still ongoing training, and
So between moving probation, renovating the basement here, and the coroner's office, we're gonna spend, what, $160,000 to do that?
Sorry, I do not have the number.
Okay, but I mean, well, you got
But,
117
yeah.
here, and we already approved 50,000 to do down here in the basement, and we're worried about $8,000.
For 1 month of utilities?
Yeah.
I don't think it's smart to spend what they almost spend.
But I mean, we're spending $160,000.
Right, but, I mean, that's, we're getting renovations for 3 different departments.
Yeah, just,
It's not
I'm
like
baffled
it's-
over. And so later on, I've heard so many rumors. Is the city gonna give the old jail back to us, or are they keeping it, or what's the deal?
No, we, signed the deed yesterday at our meeting.
They what?
We signed the deed over yesterday.
So it's done deal, okay. So where is the money gonna come from for the probation?
Really about the only, not the only option, but really about the only option we have is county general right now. So, and there's gonna be money, I know, coming back in. I don't know traditionally, there's gonna be money coming back in that's gonna probably cover this from other people's maintenance budgets and line items on that. We're always pretty, we can only spend that money so many times, and we've already talked about spending it, but this is obviously a cost of doing business.
We knew this was gonna, I mean, we knew we were gonna have costs associated with this when we moved them over. We knew that.
I think the hitch in the giddy up today is just the fact that don't like surprises. It's better to get this stuff to us, not the morning of a meeting. I got a notification last night that it wanted to be on the agenda. That's the reason that it sounds like there's so much maybe concern today with the decision that we're trying to make, is because of the fact you're not giving us time to absorb and to look through this and be responsible for the decision. And, you know, those quick decisions sometimes aren't the best. I'm not saying that I'm seeing anything about this that isn't as it is, but it's concerning, the timing. So, is there any other questions for Mark? What's the council's favor, please?
Do you wanna take them separate then? The corners and this, or are we even looking at this? The probation?
You can go separate, you can lump them in.
Sure. I'll motion that we approve the 9553 for the coroner's office relocation project from County General.
I have a motion. I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand and let it be shown as passed unanimously with all members that are present. Council's favor on the second request, please.
And I will say, just for number-wise, the amount of money that we've got in group insurance is 1.7 million. That's gonna go, well, probably less than that, 'cause we'll have another 2 payments come out. So 1.2 million will be left in county gen that we could move like we did, or we will be doing for probation. So that is an option, just so you all know that.
Mark, can I ask you a question? Mark, on the furniture, how does the pricing compare to probation? Is it pretty much the same? Because it doesn't declare how many desks or anything. So is it in line with the corners?
So
Cost?
for probation's furniture, a lot of their furniture can be reutilized from the jail. So we'll be bringing that over. but that does need to be all tore down, packaged, shipped over, reassembled. But there are some things that they're gonna need. All of their chairs need replaced. They need to have a conference room, so we're getting that set up. So there's additional furniture in there, but the bulk of their desks and things, filing cabinets and that kind of stuff, will be coming from their current office.
Okay. Well, it just says $17,000, so I'm trying to figure out if you're gonna move all that. It's mostly for the conference room?
And other furniture that they need. And that cost includes the relocation. So the company we've selected is going to physically
Okay.
do the moving.
Okay.
Like normally we would perhaps hire Joy Hall. This company is going to be doing that.
Okay, thank you.
Got a lot on the agenda yet, so what, if we could move forward, if there's a motion either way on this, I would be happy to hear it.
Do we need a motion today on this? I mean, is that what you're looking for?
It could be next month.
Okay. I would motion that we table this for next month until we can have some conversations and do a little research. I would like to see the bids for the video surveillance, the control, access control, the furniture. I mean, those are the big ticket items. And I'm not saying you're doing anything shady. That's not what I'm saying. I just want to see it.
Sure.
My own peace of mind. Like I said, I'm a tightwad, and I'm floored that it costs $28,000 for card reader controllers and door handles, or door hardware, sorry, and the video surveillance. I'm assuming that it's top quality stuff. It's just, man, that's expensive, you know.
Yes.
What are you expecting the price to come in for the Wi-Fi and fax line?
I'm not sure. That's,
So we've got an unknown expense there.
yeah, I don't know. That's
Is
really
that
not
in-
my wheelhouse. I'm here to help as much as I can. We ran into some issues with moving Purdue over the Wi-Fi and stuff. I ultimately had to turn it over to 4EOS because that's just above me.
But that amount's not included in the 117.
That amount is not included in there. I believe that's why Teresa was requesting up to the 120. But yeah, I don't know what it's going to take to get. I don't know if they can use the existing there. I don't know. I'm going to need some help with that.
Well, hang on. If we table this until next month, is that still another month in utilities that we're gonna pay?
Yeah, that would.
So basically,
We can't order it.
the movement from the coroner's office is a moot point now because, okay. I'm gonna withdraw that motion then, and I don't know. I don't know what to do here. I'm trying to be honest with you.
If I could please, I think there's a misconception here. We can't move anybody out of the jail, the old jail. I'm sorry, we can't move probation out of the old jail for another 8 to 10 weeks. Because it's going to take me that long to get branch court renovated.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I need an answer. So I guess it would be so it would be an additional month. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Because you need to buy all the stuff to do the renovations.
Yeah. And then the time to do it all, install everything, so.
I know it's a lot of money, but I hate to push it and then spend another $8,000-9,000 on utilities and that's a lot.
So the motion's been withdrawn, the floor is open.
I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the $117,785 for the probation relocation project.
To be paid out of county general.
Yes.
Is there a second, please?
I'd like to make a comment. when we did the vote for moving the extension office in the first place, I mean, that's where we need to look in the future when we make our votes and what it's gonna cause. And this is a cause from that vote. And there's nothing else that, I mean, it has to be done, so I would move a second. I mean, we've already voted for it to happen, and if you vote for it to happen, you have to support that vote. So that's why I'm making my second, because I was not in favor of the move, but we're in it.
Then we have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion, please? I would follow up, Joan, what you just said is that, you know, that's quite honestly, that is the core of our job, is to be responsible for the dollars that are spent. And you're exactly right. We made the decision to support and to move forward, but we're still responsible, and we're still, we should be vetting all this information when it's given to us. That's the difference in just approving something and then just it costs whatever it costs. We are still the body that's responsible for that, and we have to take that very seriously. That's why I'm disappointed that this didn't get to us quicker. And I would hope that this doesn't continue, because we all knew we were moving. That's my thoughts on that. The other thing I would like to please see is concerning both of these requests today, please submit to us all the bids that you received and the breakdown on the items that were bid out. Some of that stuff I know you didn't bid out, but please submit those bids to us so that can just satisfy the fact that we can look at that and get some sort of a sense on what market value is.
Can I add, can I add, on your total, you know, Teresa's estimating 125 with miscellaneous, right? And you've got 117, so, you know, you're looking at 125 probably. But if that comes back, you're gonna not use that money, it remains in general, correct? I mean, if anything happens and these amounts are lower.
We're approving the expenditures through what he's submitted, so the bills will come in and they'll be paid. If the bill comes in lower, or if a bill doesn't come in, then it just is never submitted to get paid. The money is not coming out of county general into a line item for Mark. It's just we're approving that he could make these expenditures and turn them to Tiffany for payment, so she knows that it's okay to pay when she sees this stuff. We're not moving anything to Mark's line item that he could do anything else with. Any other discussion, please? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. And those opposed, the same. And it passes with a 5-1 vote.
Thank you.
Mark, do you have a time frame on when you can get all those that information to us?
Try to get it to you by the end of the week.
Thank you. Next item, or the first item on the agenda, is probation longevity discussion for 2025 and moving forward. I met with Ed Bieber to discuss last month's meeting, as he wasn't here, on some of the things, and it was brought to my attention that the probation officers for Whitley County do not receive longevity pay from the county as a county employee. I'm a little bit embarrassed in the fact that I didn't know that. That was a surprise to me, but I guess it's been that way for some time. They used to receive it, and I think when we look back on it, we found it to be about 2003. So I think this is something that we need to seriously look at for consideration. I think that with our probation officers, they're just as important as any other our employees that we try to incentivize to stay with Whitley County, to work here, to continue their career here, to provide services to the people of Whitley County, to be involved in the community and with the people that they serve. And I think that's a very small way to let them know that they are valued, and we want them to stay here. We want them to continue and work their career here. And I don't think that it's fair that they don't receive that. So what I'm bringing forth today is just a request that we go back, and you've gotten the numbers there on what it's going to cost us. Very minimal. Very minimal. What it's going to cost us to put these employees along with all of our other employees in the longevity program. So that's my ask today, that we get our probation officers added back into our longevity schedule with all other employees.
Well, I find it odd that they're not in there, but what does this mean on the paragraph that says that the probation officer's salaries already include compensation for years of service as mandated by the Judicial Conference of Indiana? How much is that?
Well, that's built in, I'm sure, to whatever the number is. Now, if I was part of that legislature and I could decipher exactly what that meant, I would tell you, Joan, but I don't. I mean, that's the stuff that we get from the state. I think that when we look at what our probation officers are making compared to like counties and surrounding counties, our pay scale is different because a lot of these other counties, they add stipends, they continue to give raises, they give additional raises. And we've always just kind of held the line that we don't do that because of the differences in the numbers. I started to dig a little bit deeper and looked at numbers not only from the last 4, 5, 6, 8 years, but even 20 years ago. And there's not as much of a disparity over the last 20 years as what maybe there has been over the last 7 or 8. So I think that we need to not be too short-sighted in a true evaluation on Whitley County, because if we remember several years ago when we did the overhaul and looked at, got WIS back involved and looked at what we're paying our employees and how that factors out, we decided then that we didn't just want to be, we didn't want to certainly be the lowest paid on whatever we are required to pay, but we did comparisons, and we found out in a lot of those comparisons that we were in the upper 25% of all counties in the state of Indiana, with a population ranging somewhere around midpoint, I think about 49 or 50 at that point, out of the 92 counties in Indiana. So I don't know that that's a target that we want to shoot for. And I think not only with the very small monetary amount that I'm asking to give to our probation officers here today, comes along with that confidence that we appreciate them. So I think it's a small price.
I would agree. I'm in support of including probation officers in longevity. I think it's a small price and they do a good job. I think it should be included.
I would agree with the caveat, though, that we review it every year in relation to the increase from the state. Because, I mean, we can't set that rate, so I think if we're only giving a 3% raise for other county employees, and your probation is getting 5%, or, whatever the state would get, that's something that we would review during budget time to say, are we including probation this year, or are we not including probation this year, dependent on what the state's increase is.
So Ed, does every employee get a stipend every year?
As of right now, no probation officers get a stipend for a long time.
But you have every year prior to this year?
Even
No,
compensation?
never in my
Not since
career.
2003.
You have not got compensated, you haven't got anything since 2003 from the state?
From the state, no, absolutely not. No, that's a local decision. And so, no one in my department has ever received a stipend for longevity. None of the probation officers, that is.
So your salary doesn't include compensation for years of service?
No, it absolutely does.
Okay.
But not longevity. If that were the case, then other adjacent counties wouldn't be receiving longevity, and they do.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ed, but I think the years of service that you guys get is more because of the scale, somewhat like maybe the state police, that they get mandatory certain raises for the number of years they've been there, but not necessarily with the same county. You could leave here and go to Allen County, and they would still set your salary, but that wouldn't any kind of longevity that you would get would not carry over, because that would be individual to the county.
That is exactly correct.
So on this, you gave us, okay, so it's a 2026 minimum salary schedule for probation officers. Okay, administrative stipend based on number of probation officers and duration of department. Chief probation officer, 1 to 3 years, 5,000. Is that a stipend?
That goes by the number of, the state says, depending on how many probation officers Ed has under him, he receives for his years of service, that left column, plus the 5 or 7 or however much thousand, depending on the number of probation officers there.
But that's
But that's only
included,
for Ed.
isn't that, that's included in your salary though, isn't it? It's not like an additional check that you're getting.
Right. But that's how we figure his salary, is by number of probation officers within the county and his years of service in that column.
Right.
And he is the only one that gets that? The other employees do not get anything?
That's correct. They're just based on their years of service.
Just for you or for all your employees? I'm trying to get this figured
That
out.
left-hand column, that box that says
Yeah.
years of service, that's what dictates what we have to pay the probation officers, depending on number of years that they're here.
In addition to.
In general, any county,
Right.
yeah.
Now, all counties throughout the state have to abide by that probation officer salary schedule. The only additions, or the only stipends that are offered are for assistant chief probation officers or management, all listed there depending on the size of the department. So with our department, the only stipend is mine for the chief probation officer position, because our department's not big enough to have a stipend for the assistant chief position.
I'm trying to figure out the reason why back in '03, the county council changed that. They had to have a reason to do that. And I just haven't figured out why.
Say, I can't attest to what reason they might have come up with that then. In fact, some of my staff wasn't even born at that point. But I would argue that sitting here today, whatever reason that was, is not relevant. In fact, for example, as far as similar sized counties, Harrison, Miami, Jasper, Greene, Wells, Washington, they all receive stipends or longevity pay above that graph that's there in front of you. And I have a litany of other departments that also receive either stipends or incentives for longevity pay within their own county. So that is not built into the graph.
Are you expecting to hire people that would change this total? Is there future employees you're thinking of maybe you need to add to your force?
I've tried everything within my power to not hire. Despite our pre-sentence investigation reports going up over 70% in the last 2 years, we have cross-trained to be able to handle more work with our current staff. So no, that's not my intention.
Was your statement in form of a motion?
No, but it can be. I'm gonna make a motion that we include our probation officers in our longevity program and that we review it yearly at budget time.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Is there further discussion, please? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. And all those opposed, the same. Let it be shown it passes 5-1. 2026 salary ordinance, please. Tiffany, is there any overview that you need to give on this since we last discussed it?
No, but we should probably do budget adoption first. Usually.
How did I miss that on my agenda?
That's all right.
Yeah, because it's up at the top. Yeah, so let's back up to that.
I can give you numbers, I know which one you want to start with.
Let's start with the solid waste budget, please.
So that would be ordinance number 2025-22. Anybody to speak on that here, just as well
Has anything changed since we last talked about it? And has there been any changes, alterations, additions to, subtractions from, since we approved it to go forward to this meeting? Okay, then I'll call for a motion, please.
Is this the motion, is this it right here, this is the one?
No, it'd be for this.
Okay.
For solid waste.
This one, okay. I missed the solid waste part, my bad.
That's-
You said 2025-2?
That's
22.
22, sorry. I will motion we approve ordinance 2025-22, jeez, as it's presented.
Second, next motion.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion, please? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. And let it be shown it was passed unanimously with all the members that are present. Go forward then with the Whitley County County budget.
That would be ordinance 2025-23.
Have there been any changes, alterations, subtractions, additions to, or anything else pertinent that we need to know about that has happened to this budget, of what we're going to be signing today, different from when the last time that we gathered and approved it to go forward to the final approval on today's date?
Everything that you guys have discussed and wanted is in there, nothing's changed.
Call for a motion to adopt the budget, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there further discussion, please? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Let it be shown it was passed unanimously with all members that are present. Now, Tiffany, I will go back to the 2026 salary ordinance. Is there any update or additional information that you need to go over with us on that?
Yep, and then you did receive 2 in your packet depending on how you voted for probation, so it'll be the one that says all full-time Whitley County employees, not the one that said with the exception. And that would be ordinance 2025-24.
And without going through and looking at every one of these numbers, is there anything on this that has been changed, altered, deleted, added to, or anything in any way since we last approved these numbers? Does council wish for the entire salary ordinance to be passed along, or can that remain here? I think you all got copies of it. Call for a motion, please.
Make a motion that we approve ordinance 2025-24 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion, please? All those in favor of the motion, please respond by raising your right hand.
I was not here last month, so I probably abstained from this.
You're not required to. If you choose to, that's fine. I mean, I'm sure you've been keeping yourself up to date
Okay.
on what the salary ordinance is.
Okay.
Absolutely. So let it be shown it passed unanimously with all members that are present. Additional appropriation for dispatchers, please. Is there someone here to speak on that, Tiffany, or is that you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So as you know, we moved 3 into county gen. I waited to do any advertising until you, as a body, approved. So these are the 3 requests for the 3 positions that were moved into county gen.
And we did that because their budget would withstand it in the
The
90.
911.
Yeah, okay.
That's correct.
One of them is for $17,412.32. Second one is for $25,670.97, and then $25,670.97. I would entertain a motion for all 3 of these in one motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconds. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand and let it be shown it was passed unanimously with all members that are present. What do we have next, Tiffany, please?
Next, we have an additional appropriation that I had been working with Commissioner Banks on. There was a pay app, pay number 25 for the jail project that commissioners felt that they had enough to pay out of the lit rather than the bond. So there's $752,498.67 that was not originally appropriated in the budget. So he was wanting this to be appropriated as we had already paid from the lit. And there's plenty in the cash balance to cover.
So this money is coming from,
the cash balance of the lit correctional rehab for the jail.
for a total of $752,498.67. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
This doesn't say we're accepting the HVAC units though, right?
No, they have something completely separate. This was just to pay for work that was completed.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion, please? Hearing none, all those in favor, please respond by raising your right hand. And let it be shown it is passed unanimously with all members that are present. Additional appropriation for CEDIT, please, for the VHF tower.
Again, I was working with Commissioner Banks on that. And this is to move the VHF tower from current location of the jail to the highway department. I think you all received that information last month, so that's to cover that out of CEDIT.
Motion, we approve the appropriation out of CEDIT, $63,079.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any further discussion, please?
Does that include the systems in the basement? That's just not the antennas.
It's everything.
That's everything. So that's the monitors, everything.
My understanding, yes.
And that was 63,000, is that what the total was? But that includes to move everything, realign South Whitley, I forget where the other two were at, Corr Creek somewhere. That's everything.
It should. I don't remember discussing a realignment with Adam, but again, Chad's
I think
really
we spoke about it at
taken
your
the
last
lead
meeting.
on that.
Okay.
He really liked this stuff. So I'm sure if I called him right now, he would pick up. But it's my understanding that this is all that needed to be complete.
And a maintenance agreement?
This is not the maintenance agreement, this is just moving.
That's just, but there's no maintenance.
I thought the agreement was included.
Yeah, I think the 9,566, the second part of what Commissioner Banks gave us was the service agreement.
So that's moving everything plus the service agreement.
That was my understanding.
Okay. Okay.
Any further discussion, please? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor, please respond by raising your right hand. Let it be shown as passed unanimously with all members that are present. Additional appropriation for the new maintenance position, please.
Yep, so we were able to fill the maintenance position that Mark had advertised. So he actually has two. One is to fill the maintenance position, and the other is we got to do a PTO payout for losing our previous maintenance supervisor. So there are two for the maintenance part.
So 4679 is the PTO payout, right?
Correct.
And PTO payout 4679.78, and then the additional appropriation of 11,588.28. And I assume that's to cover through the end of the year, right? Okay. Is there a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Both, please?
Both
together?
Both, I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
Both,
I'll
yeah.
second.
We have a motion, a second. Is there any further discussion, please? All those in favor, please respond by raising your right hand. Let it be shown it was passed unanimously with all members of the present. Corrected 2026 council meeting agenda, please. We had two dates that were wrong because of holidays,
So,
or because of the way the calendar fell.
election year.
The election year, right? So if you'll notice, the meeting date for April was, or for May was changed to May 6th, and October was changed to November 4th. Or, yeah, October we changed to November. November's meeting was changed to November 4th. Is there any questions or concerns about that? Call for a motion, please.
Motion we approve the new schedule.
Second.
Motion is second. All those is there any further discussion, please? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Let it be shown as passed unanimously with all members that are present. Nick, Personnel Committee, did we meet last month?
No.
Oh, yeah, let's go back. We'll do our 3-year growth levy appeal approval, please. Tiffany, you want to give a little bit of update on this, or a little bit of information for us, please?
So for those of you who were present when we met with Baker Tilly, we've been so close the last several years to be able to even qualify to get the appeal. We do qualify now, so there's still a whole application process, which I did give you all the application that I put together, and it's $614,999 that I'm trying to petition to bring back to County Gen. So we, as a part of that, we have to have it approved by County Council.
Good job.
And we appreciate your hard work in this. I know when we started the budgetary cycle, you came to me and said, hey, I think we're close this year, and you put a lot of time into this, and I'm sure your staff has too, so thank you for that. Is there a motion for this, please?
What's the motion, do we accept the packet, or we?
That we give Tiffany our approval, our approval for her to continue to pursue this additional.
It's not like any resolution number or
Sure,
ordinance or
all right.
anything.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion, please? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Passes unanimously with all members that are present. No Personnel Committee report. We will have a Personnel Committee meeting today immediately following. We do have an item on the agenda. Teresa, Commissioner report, please.
I think Scott left. Yes, sorry, Coroner Scott. He had mentioned to Rob and I that when Fort Wayne does our autopsies, they will no longer be moving the bodies. So I just learned that a couple days ago, so that'll be something that, I don't know what the impacts will be. I talked to Scott briefly yesterday about it. It sounds like hospitals in general and holding facilities don't make a whole lot of money holding bodies, so it's more of a headache for them. So the cost is gonna go way up, or they're just gonna really limit what bodies they do hold, is sort of what my take was on it. But he would be obviously much better to answer those questions. Yesterday, as I mentioned, we signed the deed over to the city, so the jail is officially not ours anymore. Monday morning, the company PSI is going to be moving extension here to the government center.
Teresa, real quick, did we sign any kind of like lease or anything like that with the city for 3 months, or is it just
No.
kind of like a handshake understanding that we will be out soon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because everything's just been up in the air as to
Sure.
when things would get moved. So yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
The parking lot, we traded parking lots. The parking lot that we own on, is it Washington? Van Buren. The city had some interest in it. We needed the parking lot that's over by the Van Buren Flats for overflow parking. Nathan, I believe, is Nathan here? Nope, he's not here either. He has a program where he came up with what the parking lot would look like. The city was happy to swap parking lots with us. They obviously just wanted it to be paved. They didn't want it to just be the gravel lot. So we did that. So we'll have overflow parking, especially with the extension. And that's been something that we've been talking with the city for probably a few years, just as an idea. But we got really serious about it when the extension was coming over here. So nothing's been decided on that or anything like that, but that is the idea. Since obviously I know many of us are
You
here.
guys did that yesterday.
Yes,
You
on
approved it.
yes, on a regular basis. Sometimes the parking, if there's training here, we can't find a spot anywhere in our lot. So it just made more sense for us to swap it, and they can get more use out of the one on Van Buren, and then obviously we have a lot more use for the one that's right next door.
Do you know if the intention is to pave that lot and then to
Yes.
put like government parking signs on there, or
Yes.
I guess what's that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. And then obviously, Commissioner Banks suddenly passed away, in the official caucus. I'm sure most of us know, but if you don't, it's next Monday, so we'll know who the new commissioner will be.
Do you have any jail updates as far as HVAC and what we've been waiting on?
We did a warranty walkthrough, and I wasn't able to stay for the whole thing at a commissioners meeting. I think it really, after just talking about it, to really go through the whole entire outside of the jail and the inside, probably should have scheduled like an entire day. We only had an hour and a half. I had to get back here for a meeting and then to get ready for this one. So Rob stayed over there. I don't think he was able to stay for the whole warranty walk. There was a few things that Holt from Wygant had noted that just needed to be touched up. The HVAC thing is, it's a total mess. I know Commissioner Schuman, he's in harvesting right now. I don't know when he'll be finishing that up, but, so there's two companies. One company made the HVAC system and the other one programs it. I don't really understand all of it, that's above me, but they keep essentially saying that the other company is the reason for all the problems. And so it's getting to the point, I don't know, a lot of harsh words were said yesterday, not by me, but we're gonna have a come to Jesus talk here soon, or we're gonna have to get the attorneys involved.
Can we get both companies on site at the same time?
Oh, we have.
We have?
And I told them we're gonna do it again. I did say we're gonna do that again, because this is just getting ridiculous. It's just people screaming at each other in the meetings and saying. And the sheriff's department shouldn't have to deal with that, and the maintenance department shouldn't have to deal with that. And we paid thousands of dollars, in overtime because it's been down constantly. I mean, we had an hour and a half meeting just to go over the problems with the system. And every single issue, so,
We were, from the last meeting, we talked about our attorney kind of trying to claw back some of those funds from the company, aren't we? Wasn't that something we discussed?
I think it's gonna be a lot harder than that, just saying like you need to pay us, right? Like we need to prove why they need to pay us.
Right,
Um,
that's what we pay him for.
So I don't know, right, but we're gonna send them on a whole nother battle at, however much an hour. Obviously, Whiting priced everything out and did all the bids, and this is who came back, and they had fine references and everything, so it's really just been a mess. So I'm hoping we can get it figured out. We haven't signed anything starting a warranty. But we're doing our best. Everyone, the sheriff's department's been great, Mark's been great. We're doing the best we can.
Thanks for the update.
Any other questions for Teresa? Thank you, Teresa. Minutes from last month's meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as they were presented to you, please? Is there a motion to accept the minutes, please?
Accept the minutes as written.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes, please raise your right hand.
I abstain, I was not here.
The minutes will pass with a 5-0 vote. Anything from the audience today, please, for the good of the cause or otherwise? John?
I have nothing.
Tim?
I don't either.
Tony?
I have nothing.
Skeleton Festival is coming up in a few weeks. I think it's downtown. And if y'all want to try your hand against beating me in the chili cook-off, bring it. I think it's the 18th, I believe.
Starts at 2.
Starts at 2 o'clock. That's all I have.
Tiffany?
We have Little Pumpkins on parade on the 31st. All the county buildings are invited. We started at 3. So if you want to participate, I know City Hall's big into it. I know Nathan kind of gets into it. The building and zoning, but that's also, it's open to any business, any county or city entity. If you actually want to set up a table, just head on over at 2:30 to set up one, and more the merrier. We do this all for the kids.
And lastly, before we leave, for the record, for the minutes, I just want to officially recognize the loss of Chad Banks. He worked so hard for this county, and he's not just going to be missed because he was a friend, but he just gave so much. To this community. It's going to be a hard person to replace. Always had an answer, or you would always find an answer. I know what my relationship is with him and his accessibility whenever I needed something. And I know that it wasn't just me. I know that those conversations were had, and I started to hear more and more about that, what he meant, and he was a true leader at Whitley County, and he will be missed dearly. Thank you, Chad, for your service. and for everything that you gave to this community. We stand adjourned.